Little things like that make that core experience.
100%.
We're not in there going, no, you only booked 4 photos. I've got this amount of time. In, out, that's it.
It's not just, point and shoot a camera. Like,
No.
sometimes I feel like you're a removalist, a stylist,
Therapist.
a cleaner, therapist, and then a photographer probably
then you take some photos.
Yeah.
100%.
Just Shoot Me episode 2. Welcome back, Jace.
Let's do it. Welcome back.
What was the feedback from the first episode?
Really good. I'm actually surprised a lot of people watch the half an hour full thing, apart from my mum. She's just been watching the clips on repeat because the poor thing didn't know where the link was or didn't know there was a link.
To be fair, neither did I.
Well, but she's 70 in her defense.
Okay.
But no, really, really positive. And I think people, love our little chemistry that we have, and us, we just go off on a random tangent and
I was actually quite surprised. I thought there's a lot of trolls in the real estate industry, and I was expecting our inboxes to be flooded with them, but
nothing we can't handle.
No, but everyone was pretty good and the feedback was great. So I guess here we are, right? Netflix did reach out, but we didn't sell out.
Yeah, Beckham's, us, makes sense.
Yeah. So what do you think of this year so far, Jay? It's been pretty crazy so far.
Very busy. I think end of last year, I think we kind of felt it taper off a little bit earlier than usual. I think mid-November.
And a lot, harder than usual.
It's like someone turned the tap off.
Yeah,
and then
pretty much.
And then, So obviously we had our Christmas break, but I think coming back this year, it's come back full swing.
Yeah, and the agents have come back with a vengeance.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think what we normally notice is people in certain patches, like say the inner west is kind of going nuts, but the east is settling down. Yeah. But at the moment, everything is just
all cylinders are firing. It's nuts.
100%, which is good. I mean, it's good to be busy.
Have you noticed a pocket that you feel is probably a little bit busier than others? To
be honest, I feel like I've been everywhere since we've got back. From north, south, inner west, east. It's there's not really a patch that kind of stands out.
We are doing a lot more sales than rental properties as well at the moment.
Yeah,
we noticed.
That's true. And I think as well, normally it's the rentals at the beginning of the year that kind of kick things off. But this year, sales just kind of came in and went.
And even the video
nuts.
side of things, it's gone bananas, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, back in the day, I think when we started, if there was a budget to adhere to, or if people were kind of like, I'll just do the photos, video would be the first thing to go.
100%.
Whereas now, I think with social media, videos are so important. So people are like, no, that's a non-negotiable. I'm definitely doing a video. Scrap the floor plan or something like that. Like it's weird how things
100%.
have evolved. And people can see the value in videos.
Well, actually, one of the questions we did get asked was, why did you guys start videos? And I'll share the story and what actually happened. I remember we weren't actually doing videos. We were just heavily photo based. And we were
hence the name.
Yeah. and it was something we did want to dabble in, but we never kind of really did. And I remember we actually were losing clients just purely from the fact that we weren't doing videos, and some people were, doing photos, videos.
Yeah, it's
and
that one-stop shop kind of thing.
And I remember I just called you and said, Jace, that's it. I'm learning videos. Went out and spent $10,000 and bought a kit, and I made myself learn how to do videos.
You're good like that.
Yeah, no. And it was good. And I'm glad we did, because now we've got a massive video team. And I think back then we even spoke about how the industry was changing. You could feel it, couldn't you?
100%.
And that content side, people didn't want to pay for it back then, but I think now it's a bit more like, all right, social media is so strong, and so, you have to be on there.
And I think as well, it's the agents, it's more, not more about them, but they're definitely more involved than they were previously. Before it was just purely the property, but now it's a fine line between both.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of social media that they all have their own Instagram accounts. So that's their own platform that they can do whatever, put whatever persona out there that they want to portray. And it's good because a lot of our clients have great personalities, and it's nice to see that shine through those elements. So,
and it's funny, you see them and they're like, no, I don't like the camera.
And you're like, hi.
So and even, I know we were both a bit hesitant because every man and his dog has a podcast these days.
Sure.
And I guess we didn't want to be one of those people, but after the great feedback and our social ladies and PR team helping us out, here we are today, right?
Look, and I think it comes very organically as well, and I think that's the thing with Core. Ever since the beginning, it has been very organic, and if something feels right, we kind of find ourselves heading in that direction, and here we are, type thing. So it felt right, and like you said, feedback was great. So, and I think people are interested in seeing our perspective. Like you said, you have a lot of agents doing podcasts. but not necessarily photographers from our point of view who kind of see across the board. And I find when we're at shoots as well, people, I'm sure you've noticed it as well, people will ask you what the general vibe is out on
Are we the busiest? Are we your busiest company?
Or not even just that, like, oh, is everyone busy at the moment? Or like, so they kind of, they use us to gauge.
But I think we are a good gauge. At least we cover majority of Sydney. So it is, you know, I guess if we are, you know, firing away, you know, we're a good indicator that the market's hot, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's true, when some agents are quiet, they're like, are you guys busy? And then you're like,
and then you say, oh, actually it's quieting down. They're like, oh yeah, good, because I'm not that busy at the moment. So it does go in waves, and I feel like, they like having that that check-in point, I guess, with us.
100%. Well, hopefully your mum gives us a couple thousand views on this podcast.
Well, once I send her the link, I'm sure the views will skyrocket. She'll just have it on loop.
Love it.
So we've obviously shot a lot of properties.
Yes.
What comes to mind in terms of the most memorable? It doesn't have to be great memorable. It can be either end of the
there's a lot of those,
the spectrum.
One of my definite favorite homes. I did love. I had the pleasure to shoot Jackie O's home.
Oh yes, you loved that one.
Yeah, I did. I love that house. It was just it was the white picket fence. It was the cliche
tick tick
home.
tick.
I swear her daughter's cubby house was bigger than my home at the moment.
Yeah.
No surprise. I did meet her ex-partner. What was his name?
Lee,
that's it. Met Lee on the job. He was a lovely guy. Probably one of the most memorable homes, you know, to date that I've shot. What about yourself?
I think taking it back to the beginning, that Cronulla home still haunts me.
The Apollo.
The Apollo, yes. With no corners. I was doing the floor
I had
plan.
a good day that day.
Yeah, everything was immaculate. And I'm like, where's the corner in this house? Even the shower's around. But in terms of good memorable, I'd probably say that one that I got to shoot that Greg Natalia, I never know how to pronounce it, designed. For me, I love his work. And I just walked in and just went, oh my God. Like I noticed a few pieces and then I realized, and then the agent told me that he had done the whole house from top to bottom. So I think I spent the first half an hour just looking around and kind of snapping things on my phone that I loved.
Well, you are renovating. So is this a shout out to see if Greg Natal can help?
I mean, if he wants to give me a few kickbacks, I'm happy to tag a guy. No, for me, I just love the aesthetic of it all.
Yeah.
But I do think as well, particular vendors or people that are in the house at that time make it memorable as well. Like sometimes you get like a sweet elderly couple that have been there for 40 years and you can tell that it's hard for them to let go, but
100%.
you manage to kind of put them at ease a little bit and they make that experience. The house might not be anything like crazy on paper, but just the whole experience makes it memorable and you walk out of there feeling like, okay, I've done my best for them and hopefully that points them in the right direction.
And you also know they're going to probably look back one day and look at your photos and have them as like memories and you're like, you know you've done a good job for them.
Exactly right. So that makes jobs memorable as well.
Last episode, we touched on a little bit, about going to jobs and putting on a show, I guess the core experience. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
I guess that's very kind of multifaceted. I guess it depends where you're looking at it from. Like from a client perspective, I guess the experience starts with making the booking. But I think from our world or our perspective, obviously we've spoken about putting on 6 or 7 shows a day because you literally have to walk in, new agent, new vendors, new home, new mess potentially. And you kind of have to not act, but you kind of have to be like, that's the first one you've done today and it's the most important one you've done today 6 or 7 times a day. So I know a few of my friends always say, oh, you just go around, you just take some photos and you drive around. I'm like, yeah, it's not quite like that. It's a little bit more detailed. But I think just going back to your question, the core experience for me is definitely walking out of a house or whatever I've just shot, and I know this sounds really cliche, but sometimes I actually get goosebumps walking out when people are saying like, thank you so much. Like you were great and you helped me and blah, blah, blah. And that to me is like, okay, I could not have done anything more. And I think we've touched on it before where people selling, that can be a stressful process. There might be things that they can't control that's pointing them in that direction, or we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. So we have to sometimes tread carefully and read the room. And then the core 100%. Experience to me is kind of taking what I can find out as I walk in, and then adapting myself to that. Whether it's having an owner really heavily involved, if I can tell they're like over my shoulder, I'm like, what do you think? Like, I don't want to kind of just be like move type thing.
Yeah. Because we do get those deceased estates. So, you've got to tread carefully. You've got to be a little bit, it's a delicate situation.
100%.
Then you get the divorce cases where,
you don't ask where they're moving to.
Yeah, and you're playing mediator,
Yes.
and then it's like, oh, where are you guys moving to? And they're like, we're
I hate
divorcing.
her.
Yeah. You can have her painting.
Yeah.
So,
no, it is very much, I guess, case by case, shoot by shoot, that the experience kind of changes. But I think the overall, in a nutshell, is being able to walk out of there and think, okay, vendor's happy, agent's happy, I've done all I could, and fingers crossed it's pointing them in the right direction.
So would you say as well, having a little bit of those, having a few sales skills definitely helps with what we do, I guess, building that rapport, knowing how to read people, not quite selling them on the job, but just kind of
I know what you
reading
mean.
a person.
Yeah, like you always say, if someone's saying, I would like the cubby house shot or whatever it is, and no one else is picking up on it, you're like...
And the agent's like, no. And they're like, but I really love this cubby. And you're like, just take that cubby house.
Yeah. It's, little things like that make that core experience.
100%.
We're not in there going, no, you only booked 4 photos. I've got this amount of time, in, out, that's it type thing. It's definitely more of a personal...
And going back to what you said, like it's not just, point and shoot a camera. Like, sometimes I feel like you're a removalist, a stylist, a cleaner, therapist, and then a photographer probably
then you take some photos. Yeah, 100%.
So,
which I actually love.
Yeah.
I always say, like, sometimes I go to these tenanted properties and they've got nothing to work with. And I always say it's like being on Ready, Steady, Cook, where you've got like a carrot, a milk crate, and a light bulb that's dead. And you've got to make the room look amazing type thing with it. So
let me ask you this, Chase. So 4 years ago, we got this office. I think there was only 3 or 4 of us at the time. No, two. No, we had a few. We got the office for 2 people, I think, at the time.
Yeah, like there were 2 full-timers.
Yeah, 2 full-timers. And here we are. I think we're close to 30 people on Team Core.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed, or what do you think has got us to this point in the last 3-4 years?
Oh, good question.
Because it's quite a quick growth for any kind of business, especially real estate photography, you could say.
Yeah. Look, I think going back to what I was saying earlier as well, like, things with Core tend to happen quite organically, and that kind of helps guide us in that direction. Not that we don't work towards something, but...
I get a bit funny about that word, organically.
That's why I backtracked a bit.
And we're not lucky. We work hard for it.
No, 100%. Yeah. But my point is, we've had instances where we thought we wanted something and we've fought for it and it just didn't go right. And then in the end, we realized that what we did next was actually better than what that was going to be.
Right, yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's just about if it's forced, then it tends to be a little bit of a red flag saying, no, that's not the way.
It shouldn't be that hard to get to where you're going.
Yeah, exactly right. But I think that's helped us get to this point. I think COVID, in a weird way, helped us get to this point as well.
Yeah.
And I think just the relationships that we have with our clients, and I know we spoke about it in episode 1, but it's such a key factor to Core's story. Is it, like you said, we've been working with the same clients since the beginning.
Well, you're working with all these junior young guys now,
who have come through the ranks now, and they're now listing agents.
X amount. Yeah, that's right. Especially like Oliver Labers. When we started working with TRG, Ollie was, he was just working with under Gav, and then now he's his own agent, and he's one of the best agents in Sydney at the moment.
Yeah, so, he's killing it.
Yeah, he'll love that. Or that we just said that. You'll delete that.
What do you think is what's helped us get to this point?
I think more structure, in the
100%.
business.
And our team as well. Like, our team are phenomenal and they're all so great at what they do and helping each other as well. And I'm always like a proud little dad type thing when, like, we had an instance this week where we had one of our newer guys on a dusk and one of our more senior photographers wasn't meant to go, and she kind of realized the caliber of home. We had no idea. And she said, no worries, I'm on my way. So they both went and got the job done. Yeah. And it was just like a little, oh, there you go, I got goosebumps.
No, it is.
It's a little moment.
Because I feel like we are proud of the culture we have built here.
100%.
And I feel like we don't just hire off talent, we also hire off the kind of the people they are.
If anything, I hire more off the people they are.
I agree, 100%.
If the energy's off, and I know that sounds very
100%.
wanky and cliche, but I don't care. Like, you can teach them how to take photos,
100%.
But you can't teach them how to be that kind of person 100%. And have that vibe. And the thing is, you and I might sit here and talk about experiences we've had going into homes, but our team are doing that on the daily as well on their own. So they've got to be putting on those shows and they've got to be comforting the soon-to-be divorcee.
And we've got to lead by example too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, and I think it's good. We're out on the road as well.
In the trenches.
The field team, as I call it.
Yeah. Do you get that a lot where people are like, oh, so you're one of the bosses or founders of Core. How come you're still doing photo shoots?
Yeah, and I'm like, you'll see.
No, but we truly do enjoy it. You know, we still enjoy it.
Yeah.
And obviously we try to obviously minimize our time on the road as much as we used to be. But, you know, I still think that's a big part to the success. And, you know,
and I think as well, it lets us keep our finger on the pulse with what's happening out there, which then helps us evolve. All right, we're seeing this trend.
Yeah.
We're seeing this kind of feedback, or this is going well, this isn't going so well.
Yeah.
So if we were sitting in the office all day and oblivious to all of that stuff, it wouldn't be
it's very easy to lose, you know, that touch on what's going on in the industry.
100%. Yeah.
And you hear it, you start chatting with every agent every day, you know. But
it's also nice because from their point of view, they've known us for so long and they've known a lot of the team for so long. Alex celebrated his 5 years with us last week. So
shout out to Al.
Yeah, big shout out to Al. So I think I actually said to an agent yesterday or day before at a dusk shoot that I think that they kind of use it as a bit of an escape from the office. And obviously there's a lot of politics in every single office, but it's almost like a little therapy session for them. So it's kind of nice for them to see a familiar face. And that as well is the Core experience as well, like listening to that and just kind of taking it on board and just letting them vent type thing, I think is super important because they've got a million things going on just like everyone else does. So,
and sometimes I think we do a really good job of thinking for the agent. You know, you're fantastic at that as well, where, you know, you'll see something may get cancelled and you're like, hey, you didn't book that dusk in. They're like, oh, didn't I? And you're like, no, do you want me to do it tonight? And
looking those few steps ahead type thing.
But it's not even that. It's even like, hey, I know you guys have been doing this style of floor plan or this style of edit for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, how about trying something new? I think you guys need to freshen your brand up. And they're like, oh, thanks. You know, like,
well, I guess they get set in their ways as well. So sometimes they need someone there just to kind of shake them up a little bit.
I guess we probably sick of seeing the same floor plan.
Yeah,
like,
true.
They need a new floor plan.
Yeah. Well, if we're sick of it, they're probably sick of it too.
And again, you know, the photography obviously can become very, very similar in some areas and stuff like that. So, you know, changing that up for them, I think they really appreciate it too.
100%.
You know?
And I think it is nice to, even for us, like if you've got your full day of shoots, going to one property that you shoot slightly different to another one, just mixes it up a little
100%.
bit. And some agents welcome that, I guess, flood of creativity. Others are okay with just your normal from the corner, but it's nice to mix it up a little bit and
I feel like compared to maybe 5-6 years ago, agents are definitely a lot more creative.
Yes,
you know, like
100%.
It was almost like we'd be doing jobs and like try straight on. They're like, no, God, no, don't do it. Don't.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, and then now it's like, why aren't you doing straight on? You're like, okay, okay, fine. You know, so it's definitely has evolved.
Yeah.
And look, the content side for us has just been phenomenal. You know, we've been shooting content like crazy. You know,
and I guess that goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about platforms like Instagram and even TikTok as well. People might not see that as a relevant platform, but I can guarantee you most people are going to bed at night and scrolling on TikTok.
I don't have TikTok.
But, well, I said most people. You just got an iPhone, so we'll give it a year. So I think those things do make content more important. And just going back to what we were saying before about agents being more creative, I think we're quite lucky in the sense that we've got quite a few clients that have that eye and know what a good photo is. And it's more of a collaboration in terms of angles and what we want to showcase. I think it's not so much just turn the key, let us in. I enjoy that side of things as well.
And you notice a difference as well when you're in the, in that Vaucluse, Dover Heights, Bellevue Hill region. There is certain things you need to avoid. Whereas when you're in the, inner west or out west kind of suburbs, showing a neighbour's not a big thing. Or if you're in Paddington, neighbours are literally on top of you.
So they have a different criteria.
If you're spending 15 mil, I don't want someone staring into my bedroom.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you do have to be nimble and kind of adapt. Which is all part of the fun, really. So 12 years in, you know that a lot of businesses, especially ours, have had a lot of turning points. What would you say would be one of our, I guess, bigger turning points?
one that stands out for me is, I guess, we're so heavy on the video side and content side, but I'll never forget, we just started doing videos and we weren't doing that many. I was only doing maybe 5 to 7 a month. And we got this call from a guy in Queensland saying, I've got a job in Byron Bay.
Byron
and
Bay.
He's like, I need you there, but I need at least a few videographers. And it was at that point in time, it was just myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know me, I'm not going to say no.
The hustler's coming out.
I want that job. And, I thought, we're going to do this. So anyway, I started going on Instagram, found a very, very talented videographer, and didn't do a lot of real estate or anything like that.
I don't think he'd done any.
No, he did a little bit, but it was just more so wedding stuff. But I was like, God, this guy's fantastic. So I reached out to him and said, hey, how do you feel about coming to Byron Bay next Friday? He's like, okay. I was like, oh, cool.
Love it.
So I brought myself and one of our team to go to go to Byron Bay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're leaving Friday afternoon.
Hold on, just sorry to interrupt. This is one of those moments where you ring me and say, I've got to go to Byron Bay for a shoot. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, pretty much. And you're like, I'm not kidding, Jace.
I'm like, okay, block yourself out. Let's do this.
So anyway, and I knew it was a big moment because I thought if we do this right and I'm impressed by what I see from this young man, I'm going to offer him a job. That's what I was thinking, because we needed to grow the team, and I thought this is a good kind of trial. But also I needed the help too. You know? So it kind of worked out really well. So, but this is the crazy part, and it's such a, it's like one of those moments where there's a fork in the road. So the plane's leaving Friday afternoon, had a job Friday morning. Anyway, it was just a quick sales shoot. I'm doing the job. I pick up a table. I do my back, right? I've never done my back like this. I had a bulging disc. So anyway, I literally had to lay on the floor. Yeah, bulging disc. My wife came, picked me up, right? And I'm just thinking, how am I going to get on this plane? First of all, I can't cancel the job. It's tomorrow, as if you'd believe me anyway. Hey, I've done my bag.
Yeah.
Just cancel the whole
Meanwhile,
shoot.
you're on the floor in the living room on your back.
He paid for actors. He had styling. He had a helicopter, and all that kind of stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going. I don't care. I have to go. So anyway, quickly, my wife picks me up. I hobble into the car. Anyway, quickly went to the chiro, did nothing. I'm on painkillers. Drops me off at the airport. I'm at gate 46. So, right, it was about a 40,
so close.
Yeah, so a 40-minute walk. As I'm walking through the airport, people are coming up to me, offering me wheelchairs.
Oh, no.
Right? And all
That's
I could think
good.
is, how am I going to do this tomorrow? So anyway, get to the airport, meet this new young man. Hey, I'm Juri. Introduces himself. I'm like, you're gonna have to do a lot of filming tomorrow because I'm not in the best shape. So anyway, day comes. It was about 12 hours of shooting, moving stuff around, working with the agent, but we pulled it off and we did an amazing job. And even that night, I think we went home back to the hotel room and he paid for the hotel room and food. It was fantastic. We pretty much nearly finished the edit that night and I was blown away from this young guy, And anyway, we ended up offering a job and he was a major part in building that side of core photography. And I always think to myself, if I didn't get on that plane and I cancelled that shoot, would have he come work with us, and would have core videography taken off as much as it did?
And I think a normal person would have thought, I've done my back. I've got to cancel this. But you're very determined when it comes to things, which is amazing, which is great.
I think I had about 4 Nurophens, 4 Panadols, and the next morning I'm bouncing off the walls, I'm shooting. I'm like, I feel good today. And then
your back's bleeding.
We got back to the hotel room and I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. So that was for me, it was also like a very proud moment because I felt like, it was so easy to quit. It was so easy just to be like, what's that video shoot going to do for me? You know what I mean? It wasn't about the money, but it was more about, just to see if we could do it. I was more excited about the challenge of the whole process. And we ended up pulling this beautiful Byron Bay video. They got a record price for it.
Well done.
That was amazing. So that was probably one of my biggest highlights.
Well, I think just following on from that, a lot of people do ask us about how do we hire or how do we find talent? And it's not easy.
No.
And I don't think there's...
Definitely not recruiters.
Yeah, there's definitely no formula that you follow.
Yeah.
Even one of our other team members, didn't you drive past her shooting on the street?
Yeah.
And you yelled out to her. And
I was like, who do you work for?
Yeah. And then,
but I think she was just some freelance. I said, give me your card. One of the creators we actually did find. Remember we had our Core 10U party and we found someone on Facebook.
Yes.
And this young man, he was a different guy. And shout out to Ken.
Yes.
And we got him to shoot all our Core 10U party. Ended up.
That party, I want to do a whole episode about that party.
I got asked if we're going to do a 15-year party.
I'm in.
Yeah. Steve's going to have to work on the budget for that one.
Oh.
It was like a wedding.
Yeah, I guess so.
But no, it was amazing. But I do remember when this guy, he was sweating on the dance floor, filming
Almost
us.
lost his fingers.
Took the drone off. The one thing you don't do is fly a drone on a moving boat or a car because it's not exactly easy to land. So nearly sliced his finger off.
Oh, poor Ken. We do appreciate it though.
Yeah, we do love you, Ken, for that. So,
Yes.
and he ended up coming work with Core for a long time as well, and we loved him for it.
No, he was great.
He was fantastic. So, and that's what I love about our guys. You know, we're constantly trying to challenge him. You know, one of our guys, Jackson, constantly challenging him. And, you know, if he doesn't know something, he's on YouTube 20 minutes later and he's like, got it.
Which is great. And I think it's a generational thing as well. Like he's like 2 years younger than me. So he, I think that's great that generation has that kind of mindset, I guess.
How did you used to feel when you'd lose a staff member?
I think early on, both of us used to take it really hard and really personal as well.
Yeah.
But you got to remember...
And it was sad because you become friends with a lot of these guys.
It was like 25% of the company at the time. Yeah. So you'd kind of invest a lot of time and you'd get to know these people. You'd go out for dinners and like Christmas parties and stuff. So you'd have more than it's not just someone you work with. There's more of a bond there. So I think at the beginning... I know I definitely used to struggle a lot with it.
But I also had seen. I know we never were those type of guys that, you know, I've noticed a lot in the real estate industry where, you know, young agents work with, under some senior guys and they stay there for 5-6 years and then decide to move on. And then that agent really, really gets upset. Doesn't want to ever see them again, really, you know, almost blacklists them. And I didn't want to be like that. I think everyone needs to grow. Everyone's
on their own journey. I think we need to respect that.
Yeah, 100%.
And be grateful
for anybody.
Correct.
And nobody owns anybody.
That's right.
You know?
And I think we're grateful for the time that we get to spend with that individual. And when it's time for them to move on, then so be it.
It is sad to see people go because, you know, we've had some amazing people.
Yes.
And I think, but the good thing is you do learn from them as well. You learn from a bit of everyone, but it is hard to say goodbye, but you got to, you know.
It's part of the thing.
That's part of
life,
the deal. You know? It's Friday. Jace, any plans tonight?
Oh, tonight we are going disco dancing.
Oh, sounds good.
We're going to a little party at the Oxford Art Factory, actually.
So is that where all the young people go?
Clearly. I'm there with my Zimmer frame walking in. But they'll see.
You'll show them.
That's right, these kids.
Well, look.
What about you? Anything exciting at kids' parties?
No, just put the kids to bed and that's it for me.
Okay, fair enough. All weekend you're just putting them to bed?
Pretty much. I put them to bed, then I put myself to bed.
9:30 a.m. Go to bed. I just got up.
No, it's been a big week. So
fair enough.
No, just a nice chill night tonight.
Fair enough. Nice.
Anyway, enjoy your night, all right?
Likewise.
Catch you next week.
Ciao.